Welcome to Horns Up in 2022. How's the new year treating you so far, Peter?
Well, it couldn't start off worse.
I'm
And I
guessing
can't,
a lot of
I
positive vibes, eh?
yeah. Not the kind of positivity I was looking for, and clearly not the kind of stuff I wanted to manifest.
I
But
know, right? It's so weird. Yeah. Everybody is striving for negative vibes these days.
I know, seriously, dude, it's actually crazy. And yeah, I think at this point, not only just doing the PCR test will be a common thing, but also keeping these rapid antigen tests at home. Like I have two at home, and I don't know why.
Last week, not last week, I ended up buying a total of 12 RAT tests.
Wow,
I know, right?
it's
Ah.
crazy. I hope this is a phase.
Well, clearly they call it a wave, and a wave keeps coming in and then going back, right? Even big giant tidal waves, etc., have phases. So, yeah, it is what it is. Stay safe, everyone. Get
Yeah,
vaccinated.
man.
You idiots that haven't yet even bothered to get a jab. I don't know what's stopping you.
Yeah, and mask up, man. That's the least everyone can do.
Although, yeah, I mean, I can't put everyone who's not getting vaccinated under the same blanket. Some of them genuinely can't do it for medical reasons. But yeah, those guys, please stay safe. For everybody else who's not vaccinated for no viable reason,
Yeah,
ah,
judging you. That's all I'm saying.
judging you. Oh, well.
Yeah, how have things been with you other than buying 12 RAT tests?
Yeah, things have been fine. Things have become busy again, which is okay, I guess. That's enough about me. That's all that I want to talk about at the moment because, hey, this is the first episode of Horns Up in the new year. And as is tradition, we'll be using this episode to largely chat about what to expect from metal and what we are looking forward to from this year in music as such. There's already so much music that's set to arrive. I mean, if you were to actually count the number of albums that have been announced, it surpasses 100, 200 releases already. And that's
Yeah,
only counting albums like in the first 2 or 3 months.
yeah, clearly a lot of bands have spent time in the pandemic, like working remotely or getting whatever studio time they are and like recording new music, right? Even though
Yeah.
tours can't happen, but they're like, fuck it. We're just gonna like take out all our anger, frustration, everything in the music. So
On the tours front, a lot of bands are have announced these big ass summer tours for this year.
yeah.
Let's see if they actually happen.
Yeah, this is one aspect I'm very glad I'm not part of from music industry is the touring part, because I would just be anxious every time. I'd be like refreshing the pages, checking what are the rules, what are things to change, and everything's happening so rapidly, right? Like it's kind of hard to keep track of also.
Yep, exactly. Everyone needs to embrace uncertainty. Oh, well, okay. So, what we've done is, considering we had a lot of homework as such in trying to find out all the releases, we are going to list out our expectations in three sections. The first section will be albums that already have release dates announced. The second section will be albums that have been announced, but as of the moment, don't have any release dates attached to them. And the third one is pure speculation, simply artists and bands who have promised an album in 2022, but we have no idea about what the album is or what the future holds as such for those pieces of music. Yep. So what we've done is we've curated the albums that we just wanted to talk about, and those largely are the albums that we are looking forward to or just are curious about.
I mean, like, let's be honest, right? If we had to sit and like talk about every album that would possibly release in the next month alone, we would be doing multiple episodes, or we would be basically doing like 4-hour episodes.
24-hour live stream,
Yeah,
Twitch
yeah.
channels.
It would be something like that. So, just a disclaimer and right up front, these are albums that we really care about. We will probably be listening to. Uh, And again, this is what we are aware about, right? I'm sure there's like
Yeah.
this entire side of the underground that releases 33 tapes or 100 tapes and all
Or
the
even a
crazy.
big ass band like Iron Maiden, if they suddenly decide to drop a new album, who knows, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Oh well.
this
Okay,
is this
cool.
is everything as of 8th of January.
Yeah. So, disclaimers aside, let's get into it. First up, the albums with release dates. We're going in chronological order as such. Next week, 14 January, Party Cannon comes out with their second album ever, which is called Volumes of Vomit.
I'm quite excited for this, honestly. I mean, I've had a chance to listen to the promo copy of few tracks and things like that. But come on, man, like Party Cannon, who can like fault them, right? They're such a fucking great band. I mean, they've made it to marketing case studies, which is fucking awesome, right? For someone in that space. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. They've got one single out so far. It's called Nauseating and Unpalatable. And spoilers ahead for Horns Up fans. I think an interview with Party Cannon people is in the works as well. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Moving on, 21st January, Kissin' Dynamite. This is a band that I've been tracking ever since their first or second album that came out in 2010, which was called Addicted to Metal. Very like steak and potatoes, dal chawal kind of metal, but something that keeps me entertained, especially good for road trips, etc. So they've got a new album coming out, their seventh studio album, which is called Not the End of the Road. It's coming out on Napalm. That's on 21st January. I'm expecting good stuff from it. They've already released 4 music videos.
Wow.
Yeah. Like one of the songs is about Yoko Ono or just titled Yoko Ono.
Whoa. Okay. This
Yeah.
this sounds interesting.
Yep, it
So
is. It is. It is. For fans of straightforward old school heavy metal, check these guys out. Kiss and Dynamite. Okay, so on 28th January, Steve Vai will be releasing his 10th studio album. It's called Inviolate. Are you looking forward to this, Peter?
so while I do prefer guitar music, instrumental music is like here and there for me, right? Like it can be just like pure wankery, and
Mm-hmm.
there's only that much of it you can take. But I'm sure, like Steve Vai, considering the kind of stuff he does, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to probably give it a couple of listens, and it all depends on that. What about you?
I haven't heard a single solo Steve Vai album apart from Passion and Warfare.
Wow, really?
I've always been one of those who's a Joe Satriani kind of a guy rather than a Steve Vai kind of a guy.
Interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, take that for what it's worth. Anyways, this seems interesting. Cool. Coming into February, Beverly, 4th of February, third studio album gets released. It's called The Timeless Zone. There are 2 singles out already, The Timeless Zone and Alpha Nun. This is a return, right?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that, but they've been like working on this album, and I've been talking to the guys. We had Ganesh, aka Jack from Paversi, talking about it like a couple of years ago when he had Megadrone, his
Mm-hmm.
solo project coming out. So I think this was supposed to come out last year, and then they got signed to a label, so that's why it's coming out now. So I've heard both the singles. It seems interesting, but honestly, this is the same problem that I faced with, and I kept talking about last year, right? It's like the singles versus the album. You want to hear the album in totality to kind of figure it out, right? How it fits. And especially with a
Mm-hmm.
band like Beaversea, it's not just about like you hear a 3 minute or 4 minute snippet and say that, oh, I totally dug this.
I get that, but for what it's worth, currently the 2 singles, The Timeless Zone and Alpha Nun, are tracks 1 and 2 from the album. You can sample them on Bandcamp, and this one will definitely be one that I'll be following. Let's leave it at that at the moment. 4th February, though, that's a big date because you have 3 other albums that we'll be keeping an eye out for. The first one is the debut studio album by George Corpse Grinder Fisher. It's
Fuck
called
yeah.
No Surprises, Corpse Grinder.
And I love his Twitter handle or Instagram. I can't remember. It's called Respect the Neck. They've done merchandise around that. Fuck, dude. And I must say that this is out on Perseverance, which is actually the new label of Jamie Jasta, which is fucking awesome because he's got the same guys that did the D. Snyder album, solo album, working on it. So you've got like non-death metal guys writing a death metal record.
Yeah, I honestly I don't know what to expect. I haven't checked out the single yet, but this will certainly be an album that'll be getting a lot of mainstream press.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. A
Yeah.
lot of
The
attention.
other album that'll be getting a lot of mainstream press will be Korn's 14th studio album, Requiem, that's scheduled for 4th February as well. I'm not going to give it a listen.
Why?
The only Korn album that I've heard was like that I suffered through was the one that had the tana, 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 tana,
Oh,
tana,
you
tana. Yeah,
way.
it's not
Blind.
not in my not my kind of
Ah.
music.
So,
I'm
so
gonna
here's
skip
the
this
thing.
one.
So here's the thing, right? Korn went through this entire phase where they did like this whole different kind of sound. I forget what it was called, but they were just basically keeping up with the times of sort. I might just listen to it just to see what the hell Korn are doing now. But
You know what
considering
surprised me the most?
what,
That this is their 14th studio album.
wow, I feel old
14th.
now. I feel old now, man.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, think about it. We still remember their initial album. So the fact that they've done 14 albums,
I
wow.
know. Yeah. So if you're not into Korn and you're one of those true believers, the other album to look forward to on 4th of February is the 25th studio album by Saxon. It's called Carpe Diem, and they have one single out already. It's called Carpe Diem Seize the Day. And honestly, if you're a Saxon fan, there's good music. Check it out.
Yeah. I think if you're into that kind of new wave of British heavy metal, you're going to listen to the album, period. Nothing else.
Okay. The next big day is 11th February, which has a total of 5 albums that we'll be keeping an ear out for as such, starting off with Cult of Luna's The Long Road North, which will be their 8th album following The Raging River from last year, which actually was a pretty good listen.
Yeah, yeah. And we managed to at least speak to Johannes last year. So yeah, fingers crossed we can make something like that happen. It'll be fun to talk to him now about an album, right?
Yep. Check out this the music video for Cold Burn that's just been released. There seems to be something a lot more in terms of the visual approach and in terms of how this album is being marketed. Apparently, there's a video game that's going to be out along with the album or something of that sort, or maybe it's just the video that was developed in Unreal Engine. So, video production nerds, check it out. Bands are getting with the times, clearly.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. I love when bands do that kind of stuff.
The next big album on 11th February is by our very own Girish and the Chronicles, which will be their third studio album. It's called Hail to the Heroes, and it follows up on 2020's Rock the Highway, which was one of the fucking best hard rock albums in the modern times, in recent times.
Yeah, I'm very hyped for this, and I'm very, very happy for Girish and the rest of the band, right? Like they're on Frontier Records. They'll actually get the push that they deserve. I mean, like while we are talking about Rock the Highway, we enjoyed it. A lot of people probably it just wasn't on their radar, right? For whatever reason. So the fact that now they're on a label which also specializes in that kind of music. Like if you see Frontier has that 80s kind of hard rock sound, most of their roster. So even if you've never heard of them, you're bound to kind of come across them. So I'm very excited and glad for the rest of the band.
Yep, there's already a single out, Primeval Desire, and just going by that single and that music video, I think this album will deliver on the hype. Oh, fingers crossed. Um, on 11th February, you'll also hear from Napalm Death, who will release an EP called Resentment is Always Seismic, a final throw of throws EP. I'm guessing it's a follow up of their
Yeah,
2020 album Throes of Joy and the Joys of Defeatism, right? But more
yeah, yeah,
napalm death, who
yeah.
doesn't want that?
Always good to have more napalm death.
Yeah. The other two big albums on 11th February, that's one by Slash featuring Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. It's called Four. And the other one is by Canadian legends Voivod with Synchro Anarchy. Should be interesting, both of them.
I thought you were gonna throw the tough question at me, which one you're more hyped for. And honestly, it would not be fair to
No,
give.
the question over here will rather be which Slash album are you more hyped for? The album with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators, or the Guns N' Roses EP that comes out on 25th February?
Dude, trust me, like Miles Kennedy, like I wasn't a huge fan of him, to be honest, in that first album that Slash did with all the various vocalists. The moment he got like an entire album to himself, fuck, what an album, man.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think this is gonna like, and I hate to say this, but this is gonna shit all over the Guns N' Roses album, EP, whatever you want to call it.
Hopefully.
Yeah,
Hopefully
yeah.
it does. Okay, cool. Moving on to 18th February. Annihilator are returning with another studio album, their 18th. It's called Metal 2. I'm guessing it's a follow up to Metal, which was released in 2007. Yeah, Ballistic Sadistic was okay. That was their last studio album.
This is going to be interesting to see what Jeff does, because he constantly keeps like, doing these new things and keeps adding new stuff. Well, he has a studio where he can do all of it, so why not, right?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Keep churning them out. Immolation will be releasing their 11th studio album. It's called Acts of God on Nuclear Blast on 18th February as well. Have you seen or heard the two singles so far?
I
Apostle or Rise the Heretics?
I heard
It's
Apostle.
fucking mad.
Yeah, like
Both of
here's the
them are
thing, right?
fucking
like
mad.
like the thing I'm very hyped about is the fact that, hey, Emulation are releasing a new album. There's a possibility that they will tour also in support of it for the next couple of years. So that's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, another Immolation gig, definitely what everyone wants in 2022.
Yeah.
But I think the biggest album, at least for us, and at least the ones that we'll definitely be spending a lot of mind space on, will be the debut album from India's very own Bloodywood. It's called Rakshak. It's set to release on 18th February.
I honestly feel this is so hyped because they've been like, huge on YouTube. And if you remember their journey, right, they started off like just doing these metal reworks of popular tracks and Indian tracks and things like that. And then the way they've kind of shifted into, doing more serious music. So again, you've got like a divided audience there. But just the fact that like, they've got such a huge appeal abroad, which is unparalleled. I think I can easily say in the last 5 years, there hasn't been an Indian band that has captured, an international audience like these guys have. I say all kudos to them, man. I mean, definitely, I've had a chance to listen to a few songs from the album, and I don't want to like give it too much away, but they got my attention. They got my attention, which was like very surprising for me.
Tell you what, let's actually talk about this album closer to the date of release. I've managed to listen to the album
Oh,
too.
you have, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it's hype worthy. Let me just put it that.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, see, the thing is,
full power to them and for what they're doing.
yeah, and I think what they've done is very smartly, and this is the last thing I want to say, is they've figured out, or they've finally reached that stage, because they could have done this like a couple of years ago, right? When they were touring, when they were doing stuff. They've done it at the right time where they are actually more confident
Okay.
of themselves as songwriters. So they've kind of made that huge transition from the guys who are joking around and fooling around. Because I actually went back, by the way, and watched some of that stuff, and I was like, holy shit, this is what they used to do. Hey, if by any chance the Bloodywood guys are listening to this, let's chat. I'd definitely love to
I'd love
talk
to
them.
chat with you guys. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There's a lot going on there which we need to talk about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Next up, Guns N' Roses will officially be releasing their EP Hard School on 25th February. We've already heard two tracks from the EP, that's Absurd and Hard School. And what I've read about this is that the other tracks on the album will essentially be live versions of some of their popular songs.
I have only one question. Why?
Absurd, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, dude, if you wanted to do it, dude, like, I'm glad they're doing a 20th anniversary edition of Use Your Illusion. So that makes sense.
Yeah, which is actually coming out like a year later than the 20th anniversary.
Yeah, but other than that, I mean, I actually did give Absurd and Hard School a listen.
So did
And
I. I
let's
don't
just
want,
let
like, I want to erase those memories, you know?
yeah, let's just move
Yeah,
on, man.
let's just move on. Also on 25th February, the Scorpions will be releasing their 20th studio album. For fans of the Scorpions, it's just a big name. It's
Dude,
called Rock
seriously,
Believer. Yeah, I
like
know,
at some
right?
point
Yeah.
when you're going through these releases, you're like, you know, I'm sure like our dads, if they were into rock, they're like, hey, these bands are still around, or what?
Oh, well, yeah. Okay, moving on to 4th March when Sabaton released their 10th studio album. It's called The War to End All Wars. The only reason I've included them in this list is because the first single from this album was called The End of the War to End All Wars.
What? Okay, I'm gonna be honest, right? I don't get Sabaton.
I don't get Sabaton either.
For me at this point, maybe I'm gonna, like, since you put this on this list, I'm gonna actually check it out. But for me, it's one of those things where the image is far more takes far more precedence in the music. Like when I see the band photo, I'm just like, no, not doing that, man. I don't
Oh,
know. I'm
well,
sorry.
moving from a band that's of that kind for you to moving to a band that's of that kind for me as such. On 18th March, Dark Funeral will be releasing their 7th album. It's called We Are the Apocalypse. And it'll be their first release ever since 2016's Where Shadows Forever Reign.
Not a fan at all.
Thank you.
Wow. I'm so glad you didn't answer it because I had to say it. Like, again, I've said on the podcast before, right? I've got over my black metal phase. So, like, I didn't even hear, by the way, the entire Cradle of Filth album from last year.
Yeah, neither have I.
Yeah.
There was a
that,
new Cradle of Filth album last year?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
see,
Yay.
there you go.
But that's not black metal.
Oh, snap. You didn't. Oh my God.
Okay. Anyways, coming back. Animals as Leaders will be releasing their 5th studio album on 25th March. It's called Parrhesia.
Yeah.
I don't know what the meaning of that word is.
No idea either.
Yeah. But yeah, another new Animals as Leaders record should be technically challenging to listen to.
Yeah, it's strange, right? Like Tosin Abasi, he's gone through that entire phase of like, let's play as many notes and as fast as possible. Let's like make people shit their pants when they see this and give up playing guitar or whatever. To now like actually playing stuff which you're like, okay, this is interesting. Like it actually makes you wonder, like, okay, maybe it's possible that I can pick up the guitar and play. That's how I look at it. When this all started about 10, 12 years ago, everyone thought it was a phase and all, and some of these bands are still around doing stuff. So definitely going to check it out, if nothing else, just to see like what new trick Tosin Abasi has up his sleeve.
Okay, moving on to Destruction. Yes, German metal comes back on 8th April. Their 15th studio album, it's called Diabolical. Check out the single, Peter. The Mad Butcher is now alive.
Okay, I don't know why for some reason I haven't checked it out, but yeah, I'm going to do that as soon as we're done.
Yup. It should be like a straightforward Destruction album, and I have no qualms about that. It probably won't be an album that will make it to our year-end lists or something of that sort, but it'll be a great album to just spend time with.
Yeah.
Okay, the next album is something that actually personally I am kind of looking forward to.
I knew it.
No, but it's not for the reasons that you would expect. Yes, it's the band Fozzy, which are releasing their eighth studio album. Wow, they have eight albums, or this will be their
Yeah,
eighth album. I didn't know that. It's
I'm shocked.
called Boombox. It's on Century Media. Now, of course, those who listen to the podcast will think that, hey, Chris Jericho's in it. So obviously, Animesh is interested because of Jericho and, his wrestling thing. But you know what? I think Fozzy are at the cusp of essentially becoming the next Nickelback. Hugely,
Wow.
and I'll tell you why. They are extremely hardworking. All their tours that they've been touring through 2021 as well, and they've got a huge tour coming out in 2022 as well. They do fantastic pre-shows for VIPs, etc., really delivering on that VIP kind of an experience. And besides just the music front, damn, Chris Jericho and this band know how to sell themselves. They know how to market. It'll probably have a really cool music video that'll get a lot of airplay online. I'm sure there'll be some integration wrestling,
Oh yeah.
into the wrestling world too. Judas, which was the lead single from their previous album, Judas, is now Jericho's theme song for the last 2 or 3 years. So, because of how repeatedly people are listening to it, people end up getting the album or just getting the single, etc. These boys from Fozzy, they are on the road to making something huge happen. And while the music may not be to our tastes, dude, you have to give it credit for where it's due.
So let me ask you a question, right? And we can keep this short if you'd like. Do you see Fozzy as a gateway band for people getting into then heavier and more extreme music?
No, I don't.
Oh,
I don't see it as a gateway band, but I see it as a band in the veins of, say, a Five Finger Death Punch or a Nickelback, etc. Which is, if HR was to book a metal band, like Fozzy will be one of the prime candidates because it's exactly what you want from a good, hygienic, safe metal band for a good time.
fair enough. Fair enough.
Yep. Wow. So totally swinging on why we are expecting good, why we are expecting or why we are interested about Fozzy's eighth album. Anyways, the other really big album that's been like announced almost what, 8 months in
Yeah, yeah.
advance. Yeah, it's set to release on 22nd June, and the fans will already have probably marked their calendars with shiny red markers, etc., for this day because this is a band that has a lot of fan following. Porcupine Tree will be releasing their 11th studio album called Closure or Continuation, right? And this will be their first studio album ever since 2009's The Incident.
Come on, I need to get a quick reaction from you first to this. Let's set context first, right? Were you excited, or what did you feel when you heard the news that there's going to be a new Porcupine Tree album?
I didn't give it more than 5 seconds of thought. I was like, oh, cool, new Porcupine Tree album, good for the fans.
I was actually very interested. Uh, First of all, I didn't think they'll make a new album, period. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was like done for Steven Wilson and the rest of the band. Then the fact that they released it, it was like, okay, this is cool. This is interesting. And the fact that it just came out of nowhere, right? And after that, and I want a reaction from you on this. Porcupine trees on TikTok.
What?
Exactly. Exactly my reaction. I was like, wow. But it clearly tells you that like Porcupine Tree has gone from like this band that a bunch of prog fans would nerd over and all to now properly being marketed in there. So just like the way Steven Wilson did with his solo album, like he released one copy, which was I think £10,000, whatever, which went to charity, if I'm not mistaken. There's going to be a lot of like marketing pushed around this album. So over the next couple of months, we're going to see a lot. Who knows, right? I hope and I pray that we don't see like one of those TikTok or Reels dance challenges or whatever to Porcupine Tree. Like, But hey, you know what? It's 2022. We've seen stranger things, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh well. Okay. So those were the bunch of albums that have already announced their release dates. Let's move on now to albums that have been announced but without any release date so far. Beginning with, yes, Devin Townsend will be releasing another new album. It's his 20th album as Devin Townsend, and not counting the albums that he's released with Strapping Young Lad. It's called Lightwork, and again, it promises to be a Devin Townsend album, and I'll leave it at that.
You know, over the last few years, especially David has been so open on Twitter, Twitch, and stuff like that. He's talked so much about the music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like even with the fact like puzzles and struggles, he was fine with saying that, you know, this is not going to be something that everyone will like, right? He
Yeah.
just needs to do it as a creator, as somebody, as a musician. So I'm going to listen to Light Work for sure. I mean, I was very happy with Empath. uh I still go back and listen to it sometimes. I haven't heard Puzzle or Struggles as yet. I think I need to just be in that mood.
Mm. Yep. Every Devin Townsend album's a different mood.
Yeah.
Okay. Moving on to an album that you're closely tracking, right, Peter, is Pakistan's Dusk will be releasing their fourth album called The Imaginary Dead. There's already a single out called Ancient Shattered Moon. What can you tell me more?
Wow, so it's interesting because like we spoke to Babar last year, Babar Sheikh
Mm-hmm.
from Dusk, and he was talking about the album, right? And now that I have the promo copy of the album and there's the single out, you actually see, you know, what all he's been talking about and how long he's been working on this. Because let's be honest, the last recorded material, which was more than a single released by Dusk, was more than like 6 7 years ago. This was
Yeah.
in 2015, so it's been a while that he's been working on it. Again, Dusk is a band that has had phases, right? They had like the doom prog phase, they had the thrash phase, and now this is the return to the doom thing. I feel all fans of doom metal are going to enjoy the album. Like this is going to be something that if you're into that doom scene, you'll really enjoy it.
Let's get Babar on the cast in any case. Love
100%.
he's always great to chat with.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Okay, the next one, King Diamonds The Institute. Now, this marks the third time we're actually featuring it in a looking forward to kind of a list. We talked about this in 2020, we talked about this in 2021. It's again set to release in this year. I don't actually know if it will come out.
Yeah, I honestly don't know, right? I mean, why it hasn't been released. They did the whole live album bit, which was a double CD, I remember a
Mm-hmm.
couple of years ago. But I believe probably it's just already in the can and whatever label thing in there. Because
Yeah,
like it's not just us, right? There are a lot of other people and other publications who exactly wrote what you said. Like this has been on our list for 3 years, but it's King fucking Diamond. Like no matter what
exactly.
happens, people's gonna listen to it. Like if you're into King Diamond, you'll definitely be listening to it.
Okay. Next up is probably at the moment the biggest release of 2022 so far, right? Megadeth are coming back with their 16th studio album. It's called The Sick, The Dying, and the Dead. And all I have to say is Dave Mustaine on Cameo is using Cameo better than any other person who uses Cameo ever.
Fuck yeah, dude! Like that was so cool what he did.
He's done this, what, 3 or 4 times, right? Giving us news or giving us music only through Cameo requests.
Yeah, and see that's the thing, right? Like Dave Mustaine, and we've talked about this, right? We went to the whole story of Megadeth in India. He's known as an asshole. Like he
Exactly.
knows as this, and then he does stuff like this, and you're just like, oh, like there's nothing else you can do, right? I mean, as a fan, like, can you imagine if you or me got one of those? That was like, fuck, the best thing that could have happened to us. Period.
Really selling yourself short there, huh, Peter?
No, I mean, like, come on, you're the only person in the world who's got an exclusive preview of like 15 seconds of a Megadeth album. Wow, that like honestly, Cameo should bump his rates up for all of that, right?
Yeah, but personally, I'm expecting a lot from this album. And it's weird for me to say that because I haven't been a fan of like Megadeth's recent releases. By fan, I mean I haven't spent a lot of time with them. But I don't know. Something in my gut tells me that The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead will be a really good album.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting also because there's been so much hype about the album for non-musical reasons, right?
Yeah, that
So
too.
that's the thing. Like, it's got so much attention now in there. So the music, if it doesn't live up to that, or like if the first single that they release doesn't, like that's the thing. Like, I hope and I pray that they do justice to that when selecting the single or whatever. Because honestly, with a band like Megadeth, and especially the way this album has been, it won't even people won't even wait for the album. I think they'll just wait for the first couple of singles and then decide whether they want to listen to it or not.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Let's see about this one. But certainly, big album to look forward to. Another big band that will be releasing an album in 2022 is Meshuggah, who will return with their ninth studio album called Immutable. This
Another
follows the last release, which was 2016's The Violent Sleep of Reason.
one more album to add to my workout playlist.
Dude, at the moment, the only release from this album so far, or the only news from this album so far, is 9 seconds of drums.
And also they put out the website, right? So there's like that
Yeah,
30 seconds in the website which says 1st of April, but hey, we all know what 1st of April is,
exactly.
right?
Yeah,
Not messing around over there.
yeah. But
But
clearly, this album will give those YouTube Reacts channels a lot of fodder.
I wish like they put out some of the playthroughs or something from there, because then everyone will believe that okay, this can really be done. It's an actual human playing this. But I love, like with Mishuka, right? Like, I mean, you remember the phase in the 80s where like using drum machines was like taboo, right? Like, oh my god, you're using samples, using this. They blatantly say that we mix it up, we do stuff, we do samples. But that's the thing. Like, I've seen them live a couple of times, fucking blow my mind each
Yep,
time.
absolutely. I haven't seen their live. I've just seen live videos, and that blows my mind too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Okay, the next one is by a Canadian band called Razor. They've got an album out called Cycle of Contempt. It's their ninth studio album, the first ever since their release in 1997, which was called Decibels. Peter, tell us more about this.
This all goes back to the time I lived in Canada, and that's how I kind of came across Razor, right? So it's Razor, Sacrifice, and then you've got Slaughter. They were like the big three of the Toronto thrash metal. And from three of them, of course, I love Sacrifice, but for some reason, I really enjoy Razor, which I cannot explain it. But they've got that fucking primal thing about them, which I
Mm,
really enjoy in thrash metal. Dave Carlo, the frontman of the band, what they've done in the last few years is, for them, it was they had like an atheist moment where Relapse, bought the rights to their initial album. So, a lot of new people have discovered their music through Relapse. And I assume that Cycle of Contempt will also be on Relapse. The album's been ready. Dave Carlo's been talking a lot about it already. That's when he announced the album title. So sometime this year it'll be there. And man, considering the amount of time it's been and everything that's happened in the industry since 1997, right? Since they released their last album, I'm very kicked to see like what they do, right? Especially in terms of production, uh, songwriting wise. I don't think they're going to change. I mean, like if it's not broken, why try to fix it? But it'll be very interesting to see what they do in there. I'm personally very hyped for this album.
your hype has made me hype. Cool.
Awesome.
Alrighty. So those were the albums that we're looking forward to that have no release dates attached to them. And now let's move in to talk about the artists or bands whom we expect albums from in 2022, because there's been some news that they will be releasing an album 2022, but we don't have any further details on them yet. So we'll be running through this list in alphabetical order. So beginning with Alter Bridge.
I'm actually interested in this.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't care less.
Okay. Go
Amon
on.
Amarth.
Yeah, of course, man. Come on.
I'm more interested to know what their stage setup will be like.
Oh fuck yeah, dude. I don't think anyone like in their kind of folk, whatever you want to call it, does uh stage setup better than them.
Yeah. Anthrax.
Maybe I'll give it a listen just for the sake of it, if it comes out, that is.
Yeah, yeah. It's an Anthrax album. We'll tune in. We'll make sense of it then. Atheist and Kelly Schaefer.
Hype, hype, hype. When
Super
is the
hype.
album? Yeah.
Atheist, please solve your whatever problems you're having on streaming platforms. Your music is again not available. But Kelly Schaefer, he has a new band,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Into the
And
dirt.
yeah, that one should be promising.
Yeah, yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold.
I've never been a fan.
I'm expecting more Metallica worship from them. Avril Lavigne. The new single is out, by the way.
Really? Wow. Okay. I don't know,
It
man.
was suggested to me by YouTube, by my YouTube algorithm, so I don't know what that tells you about me.
Wow. Now that you've told me, I'm very interested to see what it sounds like.
And she's punk again.
Whoa. Wait, is this the one with Travis Barker?
I have no idea.
Okay. I know Travis Barker did some song with her.
But is this the real Avril Lavigne or is this just a clone? Okay,
Never.
moving on. Behemoth.
I honestly didn't hear the last album, so I don't know, man. Like, there's only that much. Like, of course, you know what Behemoth's going to do at this point.
I'm interested in actually watching a full music video album from Behemoth.
I know one thing that's going to happen for sure. The Polish government is again going to file a case against Nergal, and that's going to create even more hype. Every Polish person is going to talk even more about Behemoth.
Okay, cool. What about Bring Me the Horizon?
Never
Excited?
been a fan. Never been
Yeah,
a fan.
neither me.
But
Okay.
wait, I know one person who will be looking forward to this. Sahil Makija actually likes Bring Me the Horizon.
Ooh,
Yeah.
really?
Demon Stealer's not so guilty pleasure, but
Okay,
we should
cool.
ask him.
Alrighty. Next up, Clutch.
Yeah, I'm hyped for this, dude.
Yeah, it should be good music.
Yeah.
There's news of Coroner releasing a new album.
Fuck.
Wow, that'll be cool.
Dude, they are loud as fuck live, by the way. I saw them live at Bangalore Open Air.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck. Like that live set made me a believer.
I've always enjoyed their earlier albums. So yeah. Hoping that this one is good. Disturbed. Okay. Five Finger Death Punch. Okay.
Already gone through this.
Ghost. I am looking forward to this.
You don't know which pope this is going to be, right?
No, I think now, according to lore, Cardinal Copia, I think that was his name or whatever. Basically, the singer of the last album, prequel, whatever, however you say that, was Cardinal Copia, right? And now the Cardinal has been promoted to Pope or has gained papal status. I don't know what his name is, but it's that character. It'll be a great album. Yeah, the success guaranteed type. I don't know if it'll change your fandom as such of the band, Peter, but yeah. You won't be able to ignore this.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Okay, next up is Ibraki, which is a project from Matt Heafy and Isan.
I'm very curious. Dude, this has been talked about both by Matt Heafy and Isan for so long. And they've kept like talking about it. So maybe if you don't get an album, maybe you'll get a single or an EP. I don't know. But I think just if you look at them as individuals, they'll get so much hype about this. So it'll kind of be hard to miss, honestly.
Yep. Next up, Machine Head, who have recruited a new drummer and should be releasing something by the end of the year, apparently.
Yeah, and you've got Vogue also on guitars, right? So that's Vogue from Decapitated. As much as I say whatever I say about Machine Head, I've been enjoying the electric cars and acoustic cars, dude. That's so much fun. Okay. Like just watching them on YouTube, it's like, these guys are just hanging out and it's like two of them just rocking out. They did an entire thing of Metallica, by the way, around Metallica 40. They did this whole kind of set. I'll link you to it. It's a lot of fun.
Speaking of Metallica, All we know is that apparently around a dozen songs have been written, and whether they'll actually be released, we don't know anything about. But it is the 40th year of the band. What better way to mark it than by releasing a studio album now that they already have a Metallica day?
Yeah, yeah, 100%, dude. And like, see, the thing is, it's fucking Metallica, dude. Like the amount of things that they've done in the past year, there's going to be hype around this.
Yeah, I feel bad for Mustaine if Metallica were actually to release an album this year because we
I know. I mean, but it's inevitable, dude. That's just their career. Like, let's just accept it now. I feel right.
moving on, Nita Strauss. She's the guitarist from Alice Cooper's band, and she had a really good album. Her last album was really good.
Yeah,
Um,
you're
I
the one who put them on my radar. Her on my radar.
Yeah, so I think 2022 we'll see a new album from her. I'm looking forward to that if that comes true. Next up, we have Obituary, who are promising something too.
It's fucking meat
Should
and
be good.
potatoes death metal. Yeah, it's not gonna like completely revolutionize death metal. I feel, but for what it is, people are gonna enjoy it.
Yeah. Moving on to Opeth. It's high time they come out with a new album. Will it be metal? I don't know.
Actually, that's a good thing to do, right? Metal or not, open.
Wow, who would have thunk that we'd actually be thinking about doing a metal or not with Opeth?
Yeah, trust me.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on to a band that we've already discussed in Metal or Not, Ramstein.
This will be interesting, right? I want to see how they push, like what happens with certain bands. And I said this earlier, I think with Porcupine Tree, right? Ramstein now gets so much more coverage for all the stuff they do outside the music. I mean,
Exactly. Yeah.
so I'm sure there are going to be like 10 more sex toys you'll hear about if there's a new album, or some more audacious thing that they'll do this year. Who know?
Yeah.
Or some fucking crazy music videos.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Next up, Sacrifice.
Yeah, so Sacrifice are again like the whole Toronto thrash metal scene
Uh-huh.
I was telling you about. They've been talking. I mean, they did, I think, a single a couple of years ago called World War 5. I'll send it to you. It's a demo kind of thing. But they've been also kind of working on an album. So personally, I'm quite kicked about it. Just to see if they release it this year, right? Considering everyone's releasing music this year.
Moving on to Slipknot. They've already got a new single out.
They have the single out.
Yeah, they have
And
a single out, I think.
you know what's crazy? Is I remember Rolling Stone back in the day calling Slipknot death metal.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's Rolling Stone, so I'm not going to say much.
Okay, cool. Moving on to a band that we'll actually be looking forward to, Tesseract.
So I'm actually hyped about this, and I'll tell you why. Is because after Dan Tompkins has been so much on Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
Tesseract are now on Twitch, and like they've been like putting out, they've been doing pre-production demos in there, which is kind of cool because if you're a fan of the band, just like seeing the band members kind of perform or kind of try out this material, and you get live feedback, right? So that's going to be interesting. But
I'm
I have
genuinely
to,
curious about how the band will evolve with sound.
yeah, because was shocked how heavy their last album was, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and especially watching it live, I was like, wow. Earlier they had that, pull and push of sort, right? Did you happen to check out the Portals videos that they
Yep,
put out?
I did.
Yeah, fucking great, right? I mean,
Yep.
that was, so I definitely think in there. But one band I kind of missed out, and this is again, they're coming for the second time on our list. They were there last year, because I have news that they're releasing a double album.
Wow.
They're also from Pakistan, and you know where I'm going with this.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Taka Tak. So I happened to message one of the band members, and he said, "Just please push us to get releasing, because I believe like they've already like got most of the tracks done. I think it's just like vocals or something else left.
Uh-huh.
An update for people who are keen. They've added another guitarist, so now Takatak has three guitarists in addition to two drummers, and which I don't know logistically how it works out for live gigs. But the new guitarist added Shamsher Rana, because I'm on their Patreon. I heard some of
Uh-huh.
the stuff he's written. Fuck, I'm excited, and I'm just wondering, like, but yeah, I think it's about 20 odd songs, 20, 25. I can't
Wow.
remember exactly. So yeah, like imagine Acrophase now, like amped up far more. So it's going to be
Cool.
interesting.
Yep, that should be
So
that should be interesting.
so since I'm not going to name the band member, this is your push. I've said it on Horns Up. We're looking forward to the album, so get
Get it
working.
out already.
I
We
know,
know how much we had to do with the last time Acrophase was coming around, right?
I know.
So next up, there's something called the halo effect.
Yeah, I don't know if you're a huge In Flames fan, or if you've been
No,
following the band,
no.
but In Flames became pop metal and
Yeah,
like
we discussed
metalcore.
it when we discussed it on Metal or Not.
Yeah, so you had the guitarist leave the band, and now they've formed a new band called the Halo Effect
Mm-hmm.
with their first vocalist, which is Michael Stan from Dark Tranquility.
Okay.
So it's damn interesting to see like all these former members of In Flames, right? What they're gonna do. And I'm even more curious considering that, Michael did the whole Grand Cadaver thing last year, which is like old school death metal. So what direction exactly they're going to be taking is going to be very interesting for me. But there's a lot of hype around this already. And if I'm not mistaken, they're either on Nuclear Blast or the new label, the Atomic Fire. So it's going to be definitely something that you're going to come across for sure.
Okay, so moving from that to the last band that we're expecting albums from in 2022, the mighty Yob. I'm genuinely excited. If
Of course.
Yob delivers a new album in this year, it should be a treat.
Yeah. I'm going so far as to say this will easily be an album we'll be talking about at the end of the year. I mean,
Yeah.
just looking at Yob's track record, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fucking phenomenal. And it's just the way that they do their whole doom, right? It doesn't follow any rules of sort, if you think about it. So really hyped, hoping for us to be talking about this at the end of the year.
Exactly. So, lot of new music to look forward to in this year. Let's see what our moods are like and what reality is like, and hence what kind of music we end up listening to.
Yeah, it's going to be strange, man. Like seriously, I was listening back to our episode that we recorded last week or so, or the last episode for 2021. Wow, like you can't predict, you can't script any of this stuff. So
I know, absolutely. Well, at the moment, these are the albums that we are looking forward to in 2022. Have we missed anything? Is your band coming out with a release that we need to check out? Why don't you guys let us know? We are all ears at hornsupod.com or on Twitter at hornsupod. As always, I am at Asmo Ani on Twitter.
I'm at Trend Crusher.
And this was Horns Up.
Horns up, guys.